Case 6. Oh, GSR, people. This is a GSR report for you. What do I mean by that? Well, we've got gossip, we've got supposition, and we've got rumor. Everybody, take a drink and meet our friend. Using it very loosely. Bryan Kohberger, presumed innocent until guilty. Bryan's got a very unfortunate background. If he is innocent and somehow being set up, boy, did they choose the right patsy for this one, because he has all the background factors to be a serial killer that got caught after his first kill, in my opinion. That's just my supposition. And that's kind of where everybody is at, but instead of then going, okay, but what's the evidence? And I mean, he still could have been set up. I mean, I'm like 98% no way, but I'm 2%, but I could be persuaded if you had evidence. I mean, because there's some weird things like about timing, and the timing was really quick. Anyways, what we're talking about this week is, so since the beginning of this, families handle tragedies differently, and the Gonsalves family, especially Steve Gonsalves, the father, but also the sister, Olivia, and the mom sometimes, they've been very vocal, like super vocal. Like they can't shut up about the case. And I understand I think they want to, this is just my personal opinion, stay angry because anger is easier to deal with than grief, than just the depressing, empty hole that has been ripped through their family's life. So if they stay angry and keep giving interviews and keep talking, and that takes up space, so that, because your brain can only think about one thing at a time. I'll talk about that more in the spotlight. There's good techniques to get rid of anxiety and other things by, because you can only think of one thing at a time. I think the Gonsalves family is more comfortable just constantly spewing to the media about whatever. And because this case is so many people want to hear about this case, that we all click on whatever it is. So it's kind of a vicious cycle of they stay angry and I think they feel productive that they're keeping their daughter's memory alive and getting this guy. But in the process, they can be hurting the case against this guy. And the dad did that on a number of occasions to make a very impactful point that kept his daughter's story in the media. It's almost like if they keep the story alive, they keep Kaylee alive. I think psychologically that might be what's happening, because I don't think the dad wants to hurt the case. I don't think he's trying to screw up the case. I don't think he's that selfish. I think they're trying to keep this alive because it keeps Kaylee alive by talking about it. But the constant, he said, like how they were found dead together in a room when no one had known that. He made a couple of, there was another, he was saying how they were killed first, which now that's what the authorities think. He was being told certain things, and then he was telling the media, even though I am sure he was asked, please don't do this. It hurts, it lets whoever did this know what we know, and it hurts the case eventually when it gets into court. So he eventually, after there was an arrest, he quieted down a little bit, and he hired a lawyer, Shannon Gray, and they continued to talk about, once there was an arrest, Bryan, and what they think about Bryan, and what they think about, let me just tell you, again, I get why he's doing it, but he needs to be protected. Shannon Gray, I don't know what his motivation is. I guess it puts his name out there maybe. I don't ascribe, I don't know what I think about him, quite honestly, but because his client wants to talk, which I addressed why I think he does and why I understand that, he has, they kept talking. There was a gag order on the case put by the judge, the magistrate judge, and then she said, look, I'm going to amend it, and I'm including all witnesses, families, victims, and their spokespeople, lawyers in this. because she needs to lock it down so that the jury pool isn't ruined. And needless to say, there's still sources. And now the sources, is the source the Gonsalves family? Is it Shannon Gray? We don't know. It's just sources are saying all kinds of things, like about, and I'll address this in the spotlight, but not all of it makes complete sense, about how something about his job security as a TA he was being fired, but that happened after the murders occurred, so I don't know why you would be talking about that. All it does is see, he's crazy, everybody knows. It's character assassination, which I'm not saying, I don't know how much you can wreck this guy's character more than what already has been, but if there's going to be a jury picked, we need to shut up so that you don't continuously poison the jury pool. For anybody. So, like I said, for the worst of us, perhaps he is the worst of us. It seems like there's a lot of evidence, but it protects all of us. Because what if you're innocent and you're somehow accused of a horrific crime? Do you want everybody to be able to tell all the jurors all the time how you suck, how you lost your job, even though it was after the murders? But it's because everybody knows you're a horrible person. The things that he's been accused of doing, the people have come out of the woodwork to talk about his past. It's not like he's got a shining reputation anyways, but Shannon Gray wants to talk. And so he filed a motion to either clarify or get rid of the gag order. And then it was responded to by, today I believe the state responded, as well as the defendant's lawyers responded. And everybody's like, oh my God, Bryan's got a new lawyer, because it wasn't Ann Taylor that responded. But it was somebody who works for the public defender's office, and that's who's representing Bryan. He didn't hire a lawyer. He didn't hire Ann Taylor. The public defender's office and it's not Latah County, because they didn't have somebody who was death penalty qualified to sit first chair, so they had to go the next county over. And that public defender's office, they are the ones responding. And again, in the spotlight case, I'll go into it further, but let's just say, if you pray. If you just believe in good vibes, send good vibes to the Gonsalves and all the families. The Chapin, there's also rumors about the Chapin family wants, oh my gosh, more about the roommate. And I'm not even getting into that, because that is tampering with the witness. And it's also, if that girl kills herself because of this bullshit, sorry, I have to say it, oh my God, it makes me so angry. And they're like, oh, well, even, it's not just the Gonsalves, even Chafin's family wants to. And I'm like, they said it was his sister-in-law. And I was like, but they only had triplets. Oh, so I think the dad had a prior family, and it is the wife married to, I believe, Ethan's much older brother, who was not raised with him. And these people haven't been involved in the ceremonies. Not that they don't feel this, but I'm like, it's like Bryan Kohberger's aunt from marriage, who's no longer in the family, divorce. All these trajectory people want to come in and give their 2 cents and listen to me and get their moment, 15 minutes of fame. And it's sick, because, especially regarding the roommate, you don't get to question her. And any organization, news organization that puts it out, is witness tampering. Yes, Ashley Banfield, I'm looking at you in News Nation. It's witness tampering to even discuss it in terms of, well, we want to know more about what did she really see? What, do you think she's in league with Bryan Kohberger? That's bullshit, and you know it. And why don't you leave that child alone? And she is a child. Your brain's not even done until you're 26, physically maturing. And again, you want to see Patty Pitchfork come out? You're seeing it. I like to remain calm and reasonable and logical, but when it comes to hurting a child, which DM is, and that's why I'm not saying her name, because leave that. Number one, she's a witness, and she's the only living witness. So besides the dog, who can't So if you want to prosecute this case, stop it. I know we all want to know more. In June 26th, if nobody F's around too much, we will have a hearing, and it will be to see if it will go to trial, which of course it will, but we'll get more information. Then we can talk more. But in the meantime, we're hurting people who have already been hurt. And the people who are doing it for clicks and views are sickos. I know how the media works, and I know it's all about money, and I know they have to make a job, and I know Ashley Banfield isn't choosing her own stories, I'm sure. Ashley, I'm sure you're being told, but why don't you tell the people that are telling you what to do that they are asking you to witness tamper? And I'd make sure I signed off on, okay, I'll do this story under duress, just letting you know. Because Ashley Banfield's a lawyer. She should know witness tampering. And don't say it's not witness tampering, but I'm just asking a question. We've seen that. I am telling you guys, I think all of true crime, they better watch it, because everybody's going to get shut down. Because what's going to happen is they're going to start making laws. I think, if you guys remember anything about smoking, banning smoking indoors for restaurants and bars, it started state by state. In fact, even county by county, because that's how the law system works. It's called home rule. You start with the smallest entity, and as long as it doesn't violate a larger entity, like a city, municipality can make a law as long as it doesn't violate a state or federal law, and a state can make a law as long as it doesn't violate the federal law. That's how that works. So I think Idaho's on its way to being like, they're going to start making like zero media allowance of a case before it starts. That's what I think. Sorry, back to Bryan. That's what I think is going to happen if we don't watch it. So again, I was a kindergarten teacher at a certain point, and I have 3 kids. And let me just tell you, if you, Idaho is clamping down on media, and we've had the lawyer, and other people read the Idaho's in these filings. They're discussing what can be discussed. And I'm telling you, when decisions are made that yes, it's okay to close down these people, and yes, it's okay to have a media gag on, which I think is going to happen. There will be a judgment that it's okay to have a media gag on victims' families and their lawyers. It'll get tighter and tighter, and that sets precedent. Once there's a decision, then somebody else in that same position can go, well, Judge, in Latah County, they had this case and they made that, and pretty soon, like, Idaho's going to go to like no media before a trial. And it's only going to be because people couldn't shut up with small kids, with kinder, like, it's people. If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. It's not just child behavior management that talks like you can't do that. You're just reinforcing them if you allow it. That's the law. That's how the law sort of works. Like, and I'm telling you, if Idaho does it, then another state will do it. And Steve Reich, or Scott Reich on Crime Talk, he's a defense attorney. And the lawyer, Peter Tragos, also a defense attorney. Boy, they don't like these. They're very upset by this. Defense attorneys can't talk. But I am telling you, it's only because certain people are acting crazy, and the internet, the way it is, with the mob mentality, the burn the witch, that to get good trials and to get a jury pool that's not tainted, they have to start closing things down. And it'll start state by state until it gets bigger. So if we want to learn about things before the actual case is coming out, I'm telling you, we better not take part in the bad behavior, is all I'm saying. That's my opinion. Sorry. I got up on my soapbox there for a second.